Hello everybody, I would like to show you how to export a particle simulation from Houdini to Maya using Alembic format. Hallelujah, it's possible now thanks to Bifrost. Okay, so let's go, let's dive inside. I've made a little simulation, very simple simulation with an emitter and a pop net with a pop flip for that kind of behavior of the particle. After that, I clean up all the attributes I don't need to. And of course, this is very important one. You have to keep IDs not used in this setup, but I will improve the setup in the future. So I make my of course file cache, and that's okay, no problem. Here is my simulation particle. First things to do, as you know, unit is different in Maya and Houdini. In Houdini, unit is in meter, and in Maya it's in centimeter. So you have to scale up the wall object. So I scale up the wall object to export in Maya. I had a p-scale attribute to have, you know, a radius in Maya term. If you want to see the radius and the particle scale, you have to set in disk and send, and then you can set up the particle scale as you want. 0.5 is enough for me. After that, here's the trick. We've got three tricks to do. The first is to rename attribute. I have to rename p-scale to point size name, and v, which is velocity, to point underscore velocity. It's why do I do that? It's because Bifrost understand that kind of attribute, and in Bifrost the name is property, but in Houdini it's attribute. After that, I convert my system, my particle system to with a add node, and I take the add particle system thanks to Valdo to tell me that trick. And if you don't do that, it will not work. After that, I promote all my parameters, attributes, sorry, in vertex class, because as you know in Maya, there's no point class, it's vertex only. After that, last thing to do is to put a rope Alembic output, and I will export it. Nothing to change here. Click to save to disk, and here we go. I have got my Alembic. Let's look. It's about 327 megaoctet, sorry. So let's jump into Maya. So I've got set up the scene, the basic scene with I import my tube and I put a plane and I render with Arnold. But I think this method will probably work with other renderer. So let's import our Alembic. As you know, previously in journal, you use that kind of thing to import Alembic. But in this case, for particle, we have to jump into Bifrost. So where is Bifrost? Bifrost, you can find it and open with Windows Bifrost Graph Editor. Here's the window. So we will create a new graph. There's input and output. So Bifrost is not fully implemented yet in Maya, but it seems to work for that kind of thing. If you come from Houdini like me, it's a sort of very simplified Houdini inside Maya. You can do all the things you can do in Houdini, of course, but you can do some kind of trick. So the first thing we have to do is tab here, sorry, tab and tape Alembic, right, Alembic. So you've got a read Alembic here. This is an asset, a compound, a subnet. If you double click in, you go inside like in Houdini. So I don't will use this input node for the moment, and here I can select so my Alembic file. I can check and get the pop ABC, and then I have to put my points to the output. In my Alembic there's only points, no mesh, no strand, so I think it will be okay. Let's check up. Yes, it's okay. But when you change the timeline, it doesn't work. Why? Because here we've got the frame. So if I change the frame here, I put 25, for example, or more, the reading of Alembic is okay. So let's add here. I will check right button and create node and time node. And he had a time node and wire the frame out to the frame input. And then it works. Okay. So I read my Alembic. It's quite fun. One thing that I noticed when I'm working on that, be sure you just uncheck the cache playback, because if you change your Alembic, your input Alembic, it will not consider it and you will have some bug in your viewport. So just uncheck that kind of the cache playback bar. So it's okay. So let's render with Arnold. I render with Arnold and it seems to work. I've got something. I've got my particle and all that kind of thing. I will add the shader to, I will stop it, open the hyper shade. I made a shader previously, so I select my Bifrost and assign my pop shader, which is quite a greenish shader, and let's render again. And it works. So I will zoom in the viewport to see. Okay, it's okay. My p-scale, my radius, my size is okay. Let's try out if there's some motion blur, because as you probably know, a motion blur is very important with particles. So I will stop it, go to the render settings on a renderer here, and motion blur, enable, and then render. You've got motion blur, hallelujah, so it works. So here's the basic setup, and you can see when I just change my timeline, it changed. You've got another option, so I will stop again and dive into a little bit more in my setup in Bifrost. So here is, if I want to change, because I can change the type of particle, because if I play render, I will stop, remove the motion blur, yeah, to just see the look of my particles. My particles are, you know, disk. It's not sphere. You can change the type, but here you've got nothing, so you have to, in the Bifrost, add. We stop it again. I'm a little bit paranoid about that. I prefer to stop and run again. I don't want the Maya to crash. So you've got a node named Arnold. Point settings here, and you could put point settings here and here, and then you can choose what kind of particle do you want to. If you want sphere, you can put a sphere here, and let's render again. And if you zoom in, you can see each particle is a sphere, and you've got the disk, of course, which was the previous render, and the quad, probably for sprites. So it works. If you want, I will re-enable the motion blur. So enable motion blur, it blur. If you want to reduce or increase the motion blur, you have to go into the shape of the Bifrost node, which here you've got the velocity scale, so you can decrease or increase the motion blur, and it works fine. Okay, so last thing, I will stop again. I will go to the settings, and you will see that the setup works with GPU render. As you probably know, it will take a little bit longer to render, or no, that's okay. And it works with GPU. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I will see you in the part 2 of this tutorial to add some variation. You can because here's a problem. You can change in Maya the p-scale, the radius, the size of your particle. If you want to do so, you have to go back to Houdini, you have to re-export, change the p-scale here and re-export. I will make the second part of this tutorial to show you how to tweak and to make a little bit more complex network, which probably will work with other renderer, because here, as you see, I use Arnold point setting nodes, which is of course only for Arnold. So if you want to render that kind of Alembic with other renderer, it will be this node will not work. So I did a bit more into Bifrost, and I finished to have a setup we will work with other renderer. So let's see you in the next part of the tutorial. Thank you for watching. See you. Bye bye.